Welcome back to another episode 45, 45 of the Spittin Hoops podcast. We got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to break down. Awards, playoff series, historic chokes from Jason Tatum in game one of the Cavaliers. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was about to smack you through the screen, bro.
Anyways, we got a lot of stuff to break down. First, Anthony, unrelated to basketball, are we Team Kendrick? Or are we Team Drake?
Oh Lord. Can I be Team J. Cole?
You're like, I don't want anyone showing up to my mansion.
He's my favorite is actually seeing all the J. Cole memes of him like being the last passenger on
Wait,
like the Titanic raft boat or whatever before it sinks because he knew to get out.
did you
Like,
see some girl found him on like the beach today? Like today, J. Cole was just on the beach with his like laptop and headphones in, like recording stuff into his phone. And some girl like found him on the beach and like took a photo with him. And it's exactly like all those memes. It's just J. Cole on the beach. There's no one, and it's like her and J. Cole. I'm like, sensational. Um, yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, that's amazing. First off, that totally like translates with what you would expect J. Cole.
Yeah.
I don't really know because I'm not going to pretend to know that much about like this beef and this drama. So I'll go strictly off of the vibes. I really liked Drake's first one, whatever the drop and give me 50. I thought that was hard and like kind of was like cool because that's where it started from. Like the whole industry is against me. And then Kendrick really came back with some heat that was almost past the point of lyrically impressive and almost just ridiculous coming at for his life. So I don't know. That's my we're spitting hoops for a reason. So we like to spit. So we like to break these lyrics down. But
Hey, I'm Team Kendrick. Come on. Okay, wait. First, before I say that, I am assuming that all the allegations made against both Kendrick and Drake by the opposite party are false. Okay. If any of those allegations are true, like, I don't really want to be involved. Like, I don't really want to have a voice in this. I don't love, yeah, I don't love some of the way this has gone. But holy crap, not like us. West Coast banger. I was at a bar on Saturday. They're already playing the diss tracks like
right.
within 24 hours, less of it them being dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Kendrick. Anyways, this is my West Coast bias. I always have
Hey,
to shout it. Um, Drake, OVO, please don't come after me. Like seriously. I've been seeing what EXO's been sending to the Drake mansion. A lot of shooters. I don't want shooters coming up to Max's mansion, I guess.
we don't need that, bro.
If
Honestly, though, Drake, if you do get word of our podcast, please feel free to come on and talk to us about how you feel about the sorry state of your franchise.
Yes, sir. Perfect. More rings than the Celtics in the last 5 years, though. And with that, we will get
That's
with that, we will get right into the podcast. We'll go through some general news, stuff that's been going on. We'll go through the round one series. Obviously, we had a podcast towards the back end of the round one. This is us just wrapping up the round one series, and then we're gonna delve right into round two. A lot of drama there. Let's just start with the awards. Jokic wins his third MVP, announced like 20 minutes before we went live right now. SJ second, Luca third, Giannis fourth, Brunson fifth, Tatum sixth, Sabonis seventh, KD eighth. Um, any thoughts? I thought it was well deserved. I think this was both of our predictions, but Luca third throws me off a little bit.
um Luca third throws you. I'm okay with it. I was actually going to take a historical slant on this. There's 9 players in the NBA now that have 3 MVPs. So this does put him into very specific rarefied air. Is he the worst of those 9 players to win 3 MVPs? Who do we have? So we have LeBron, Kareem, Wilt, Michael, Larry, Magic, Moses Malone. Oh, that one's close. And then Jokic, right?
Yeah.
Those are the 9.
Well, where do we have Moses? I think we have Moses in the top 20.
That might be one because he's got the 3 MVPs. He's got the Finals MVP, right? And then he's got the MVP or the chip. That's comparable.
Damn, that's kind of interesting. Okay, well, because when that was announced, my first thought was welcome to the top 25, Nikola Jokic. But
Sure.
might be top 20. If we're really breaking it down, it might be top 20. But also Moses did have the body of work and yeah, I don't know. So I think
Yeah. Depending on what happens this postseason, this conversation will change. So
yeah, and also, I mean, the Jokic is only going to move up.
yeah,
Jokic will literally only get better from here, or like his resume will only get more stacked from here, even if he doesn't win chips, right? So, like, he's a top 20 player, and it's not going to go down. Like, I
I
think
have a question for you. When we've done our joint, these are the greatest players in NBA history together. For you, can a player take a backslide from a spot that they were at, and then if they have some bad seasons, it drops down, or do they just not continue to improve?
that's a great question. In general, I think it's the latter. It's to not continue to improve because I'm not judging Russell Westbrook's career based off of him being a role player on the Clippers, right? Like,
Right.
and as much as his drop off has been extremely significant, like that's one thing. But I do think there are other cases, like maybe like Harden and Chris Paul, where the reason they aren't higher might be coming true over and over and over again, like lack of playoff success, playoff chokes, etc. And I think that might reframe someone's career towards the back end. But in general, I really think when we're ranking players, we should always be tending to be on the safe side. So in theory, you shouldn't really be moving people back if they get worse because
Right.
you're judging them based off their peak
They're
or
great. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. The thing is like if LeBron, like I'm gonna be honest, if LeBron kept playing till he was 46 and he's putting up like 12 points per game, that might just personally affect the way I feel about like that situation. But it's not gonna make me think he's not a top two player in NBA history, right?
Right.
Like it might change shades, but
Yeah. We don't go after Kareem for having, 8 points per game in his final season.
or Wilt. People forget Wilt.
Right.
Wilt at the back end of his career, I think he had two. I think he had 2 or 3 seasons under like 15 a game.
Yeah, that's a crazy career.
Yeah. I mean, just because he got pissed that everyone didn't think he could pass.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Anyways, but congrats to Jokic. One little note, Giannis fourth, Brunson fifth. I would have liked to have seen Brunson fourth, Giannis fifth, but Giannis's advanced stats are just I was looking at them again today because I was doing like SGA Luca advanced stats comparisons, and like Giannis would pop up as the fourth guy behind them two and Jokic every time. So that's one thing. But Sabonis seventh is really rough. Is really, really rough in my opinion.
That's something that happens. Like Kyrie Irving, for example, does not have an MVP vote. Fact check YouTube, but there's like this discrepancy between all NBA and all stars and then who gets MVP votes. It's very odd.
Yeah, and with Sabonis, he got a fourth place vote. I think that's why he basically got carried to a seventh place finish because he got
Yeah,
one fourth place vote.
right.
But man, who voted for him fourth? Like
That's
I don't want to be like a total dick about it, but like it's really shocking to me. I genuinely I have difficulty arguing that Sabonis should be top eight, let alone a fourth. You got a fourth place vote. Like, is he more valuable than Ant?
right. Well, we'll get to that in a second, not right now.
I mean, I don't think he was during the regular season either, you know?
So his plus minus this year was 69 over the course of 82 games. So yeah, I don't know.
He's not the
I don't
best
know.
player on his team. He's not the best player on his team.
Maybe it's the double streak. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a reason why.
You're like
Maybe
trying to,
somebody in Sacramento owes a lot of money to somebody else.
yeah, and I don't like again, I don't want to be harsh because Sabonis did have a great season, but I really struggle with him being seventh. It's kind of sucks that people are going to check basketball reference 10 years from now and are going to think that Sabonis was like a top 7 to 10 player at this point. Like he wasn't. He isn't. He isn't top 20,
It's
frankly.
we could yeah
Um,
we could make a whole list. We could play a game where we go back and forth
yeah.
saying guys are better.
Yeah. Defense player of the year though, Gobert wins it. Wemby kind of gave him a run for his money in the voting. But Gobert kind of ran away with it in general. A
Yeah.
pretty big gap between him and Wemby, and then an even bigger gap between the rest. I think Drew Holiday picked up a first place vote. We're just gonna move on from that, which is like insane. But Gobert now four-time Defense Player of the Year joins Mutombo and Ben Wallace, who are both Hall of Famers, if I remember correctly. So kind of gives you the track that Gobert's on.
Man, we'll see what happens with this Wolves team, bro. If he wins a ring, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Based on the standards. We can talk about whether we agree with it or not, but
Yeah, I mean, I agree. If he wins a ring, I think he's probably already getting into the Hall.
probably.
Um,
Probably.
but
Michael Cooper is now in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's tough because Gobert at no point of his career has even been a top 15 player at any point.
well, he's what? He's like two-time All NBA and then
Yeah.
like 3 or 4-time All Star.
And that's with dedicated center as a position, and a non-center.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't have super positive thoughts about this being like I really strongly think that Wembanyama was a better defensive player, and we'll get to this later. Game two of this Minnesota Nuggets series kind of felt like my vindication of my take that I think the perimeter defense of the T-Wolves helps Gobert a ton. But Gobert
Oh,
is either the defense player of the year or second, in my opinion.
that's okay. We're hopping into Timberwolves real quick, but that's why he's so successful in this system compared to when he was on the Jazz. And in this system, he is exactly what you need. Like
Yeah,
he's perfect.
yeah.
And you know, game one, his presence was felt. Not to say that, whatever about him missing game two. Congratulations to him and his partner, but yeah, just cool, man. Cool to see Gobert's very random stat that he now has 4 defensive players of the year. This probably is the end of his DPOY run, though, because is he going to be the guy who's known as the most defensive players of the year of all time?
He'll never get a vote. He'll never win again. Even if he actually had a best defensive player season, I don't think he'll ever win again.
Because they might just give it to Vic.
Yeah, Vic or even they'll go Gobert. You already have four. Voter fatigue is a real thing.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I think we see it with Luca, where Luca's been like mentioned or in and around the MVP for like 5 years, and everyone's like, okay, like he hasn't even won it. He has voter fatigue before he's even won. But like, I think Gobert is probably going to get some voter fatigue, and frankly, in my opinion, I think maybe people will see the light a little bit more. I pretty strongly feel like if you swapped him and Bam or swapped him and AD, think the T-Wolves defense would be even better. So
I mean, yeah, I think that's a fair take. I don't know. That's tough to say. I think he's just synced so well with this team that who
and
knows?
still
But
this season, I would have put him one or two because like just we
yeah,
can't play those hypotheticals like
right,
24/7, especially when the gaps are pretty slim between him, AD, and Bam.
right.
And so yeah, that's why I'd still have him second, but that's like a sneaky take I have. Okay, enough hating on Gobert though.
Yeah, let's keep
Let's
his
have some
minutes.
positivity.
Sir.
Wemby, unanimous rookie of the year, my French brother, which I didn't call Gobert, sorry. Yeah, he wins. We saw it coming.
When he beat Chet in that Spurs Thunder game and
It was
blocked a
over.
shot, that was kind of the Chet had a great start to the year and was number one for a while, and Wemby caught up because of that final stretch run where he was averaging something like 26, 13, 5 blocks and 2 steals, like just on top of it. So, man, congratulations to one of the greatest rookie seasons I've ever seen. I've loved watching the compilations on Twitter and YouTube of players on a fast break, 2-on-1, and then they just dribble the ball back out to the 3-point line. Hilarious.
I've never seen that, let alone like in general. Sorry. I've never seen that in general, let alone with a rookie. Like
Yeah.
that's like insane. Nike's ad also, they put out their new Wemby ad. Fire. Shout out Nike. No player, they put me onto the stat. No player has ever averaged like what 20, 10, 3, 1, and 3. Like that stat line. So 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks for those last three numbers. No one's ever averaged that ever, or something like that.
Bro.
Not even for a rookie.
Yeah.
Like
No,
he had
he's
3.5, he had 3.5 blocks as a rookie. He played 30 minutes a game. And also the injury concerns, 71 games played.
yeah.
And he didn't really look like he was gonna get hurt. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I could talk about Wemby forever. This is an all-time rookie season. Uh second best rookie season I've been alive for.
Second best after,
Braun.
I don't
And
know.
you can even argue Wemby's rookie season isolatedly was better. And I think Melo's in that breath, AD's in that breath.
Blake Griffin has a case.
Blake Griffin has a case.
He was an all-star. But I mean, this is the most impactful it's felt like, especially the latter half of the season.
Oh yeah. This feels like the best rookie, like the best player to be classified as a rookie. Like by game 60,
Yes.
like I was like, this is the best player that I've seen with my two eyes be classified as a rookie at any point.
Yeah.
Um, Small shout out to that 40 game season from Zion. He was really good, but didn't play enough. Yeah.
Um, oh,
Um,
his rookie year.
what?
His rookie year.
Yeah, his rookie year. That was a
Oh,
phenomenal.
I thought you were like shouting him out right now. I was like, oh, I thought
No,
he was kind of healthy this season. Like, damn, bro.
like that's kind of crazy. No, yeah. But that I just mean in terms of like impact or like visual, like what I remember. I'm kind of spitballing though. Malcolm Brogdon though, rookie of the year, shut up.
Yes, sir, indeed. One of the greatest rookies I've ever seen, and a rookie of the year, MIP, and sixth man.
I think so, yeah.
That's
That's
crazy.
actually that's a fun fact.
What a fun little stat there.
That's like the Dame having competed in every All-Star
All-star
weekend.
category in the same weekend. Yeah, that's a good
That's
one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then last thing for the general awards, this is or general news this is something I just personally really want to talk about. The NBA TV contracts, obviously, they're up and they're all out negotiating now. The current rumors are it's going to be ABC, NBC, and then ESPN and ABC. ESPN and ABC both owned by Disney. I think NBC might be under that conglomerate as well. But that means we're potentially and maybe even probably losing TNT coverage. Charles Barkley has an out in his contract if that does happen, which is kind of fun. Like in general. But Amazon looks like they're gonna get their way. They just have too much money, and they're gonna get a pretty significant game package. It looks like.
Yeah, I heard Bill Simmons talking about this. I don't really know what I'm not a money guy, so I don't have too strongly of a take. My big thing is whatever happens that means that NBA fans can watch basketball, that's what I care about. So whatever the chart to that looking good is, I'm here for it. I think this seems like you know a little bit more of the X's and O's of how this is going to play out. But Max, how do you see this impacting how fans are going to watch basketball going forward?
Well, I think fans will be unhappy. This is going to be the whatever move the NBA makes is going to be a money grab, and as they should. Like they're looking for like this is how they make the majority of their money is TV contracts, right? Um, but I think it's gonna be bad for the consumer. You're gonna have to watch on Amazon Prime and then ESPN Plus, and then like you're gonna need three subscription services. League Pass, let's be real, probably won't cover the national TV games as it does like it doesn't cover it currently. So unfortunately, like and then if we lose TNT, the best NBA broadcasting group, like yeah, it'd be pretty unfortunate. And honestly, it's kind of looking that way. So the rumor is, so the current NBA contract, they're making about 1.2 billion per year on their current deal, and they're looking for a 75 billion over 10-year deal, so 7.5 billion a year about. So first of all, the salary cap is about a spike. Like over the next 10 years, we're gonna have some fun with the salary cap. Like I don't want to say it's gonna double, but it might. And then the other thing is the reason the NBA is money grabbing, like they need to get their money. They're gonna sign a long-term deal. The NBA is about 100 billion over 8-year deal, if I remember correctly. Or the NFL, sorry, is on that. So I think the NBA is getting pretty close. NFL obviously is about to renegotiate as well. But so the NBA, if they want to expand, they need to get as much money as they can because they have to go to their owners and be like, even though we're going to take your percentage from 1 out of 30 to 1 out of 32, if we expand to two teams, we got you this much money. Like, be happy. And so I think that's also a part of the calculus. And I think if we get expansion, frankly, I'm down to deal with the viewership issue. Like, I'll subscribe to two different things if it takes, like, if that's what expansion takes. But Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Or I guess that's the situation. I don't know if I have too many thoughts, but I'm just rooting for this to result in expansion, I guess.
Bro, that would be so sick. We're gonna do some sort of draft or something like that on who's gonna get who, if Seattle or Vegas or friggin' Ottawa or Mexico City, whoever decides Tallahassee, or wants to. Arlington's like, Alexandria's like, you know what? We're not gonna wait 50 years for Washington to come our way. We're gonna do this right now.
That would be crazy. They'd probably get more fans out there. No, actually, I can't say that after I roasted Ted Leonsis for wanting to move the team. Um, but I don't know. I'm just really curious to like follow this story. I don't know if I have any like takeaways, but the NBA being looking for 75 billion, if they can get that number, that's a great sign for the health of the NBA, the state of the NBA, they're also going to get international rights deals, etc. This is great signs.
they're
Overall,
looking,
this is great.
they're looking for 75 billion from the conglomerate of all these companies.
Yes, yes.
However they can get it, they're looking
Yeah,
for it.
from the conglomerate of all of their rights, from what I can tell, including international rights. But international rights, like, those vary. Like, that's the thing. That's the reason I've been keeping it to talking about Amazon, NBC, ESPN is like, I don't know what the Chinese TV provider is that, like, they're gonna give them a ton of money, but like,
Well, that's what I'm thinking is like, if it, isn't China gonna want to have their billion plus population be basketball fans because it's such a big sport there. They love the NBA. So it'll be interesting to see how the viewership kind of shakes out.
yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I really think it's gonna be pretty split. I think it's gonna, Amazon or remember when Peacock made us all like sign up for Peacock for one NFL game? I think
Oh,
unfortunately we're trending more towards that direction than not, unfortunately.
it's the way of streaming, right? Like, it seems like cable's becoming a thing of the past. The games that we care about will still be on cable, but yeah, we're just kind of in a new era.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that, you want to take us into the actual NBA playoffs?
Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
Like 30 minutes into this podcast.
Ripping, bro. Yeah, man. So yeah, round one. Last we talked, Thunder Pels. Thunder wrapped it up. You got anything to add? We can talk Pelicans more of the offseason.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, there's two separate conversations we had here, and it's like the Thunder against the Mavericks, and then the Pelicans offseason. Like, uh,
So
I'm
um
pretty sure in my notes for like the last podcast when we were talking about the series, I just put ZZZ, like falling
yeah.
asleep.
Is
So
it ZZZ? Imagine if ZZ Zion was playing. Probably wouldn't have changed much, but he was looking good against the Lakers, bro.
yeah, I mean,
Shame.
if we got that Zion that was playing against the Lakers, like we say that every year. It's pretty
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. And ironically, we go into the next series, Clippers Mavericks. So we say this every year about Kawhi Leonard, who's barely played in any games. So Kawhi's gone after game three. Mavs just looked inspired. I think everybody saw Kyrie's game five or game
Oh,
six brilliance, where just the
oh,
behind, yeah, right, just that one shot where he falls and Daniel Gafford's like, so this looks good. I think this is kind of where people predicted the series to go. What was it, 2-2 when we did our pod? So I think we both said, yeah, Mavs probably because Harden was looking good, and then the Mavs just kind of pulled away with it. Lucas still has to figure some things out though.
yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I think he's pretty clearly like injured. He was sick for sure during the Clippers series, like this that came out. But now, I mean, we'll talk about this later as well. He just doesn't look right. Like, he's not playing the same way, in my opinion. Not to bail him out. Like, it's a long season. This is how it is. But yeah.
Yeah.
Side note: Clippers are not offering Paul George a max contract, according to Shams. Apparently, he's rejecting all non-max contract offers. I think what's more likely to happen is the Clippers to cave and offer Paul George the max. But there's a very good chance he walks, and if he walks, you have to give Paul George or James Harden a huge contract. And now you got James Harden and Kawhi to rock out into the next year. Like,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, this just sounds like a dumpster fire. My brain went to, you can only really do super teams anymore if you have like a 2 top 5 and like a top 10 player in the league or something like that. Like you can't you just can't do like super teams don't work like that anymore. You need a more cohesive team.
And you need aspects. Like this is something, I mean, again, we'll get to this with the T-Wolves later, but like you need aspects, you need depth. Even if you have a super team, you need a guy to come in who can be a like shoot threes off the bench if some of your guys are slow, or you need a guy to come off the bench who can play great defense. Like you still need something. And the Clippers are good and they're deep. Like they have players, but they don't really have that many aspects. They still
Right.
need to get carried by James Harden and Paul George, and then they need a 15-point scorer next to them, which is usually Norman Powell because Kawhi's out. And it's
Right.
like, is that your like it,
Terrence Mann is 28.
yeah, Terrence Mann's good, but like if it's
But
tough. It's
I mean, Terrence Mann is good. Is he cracking the top 8 of the Timberwolves rotation?
That's a good question.
I don't think so.
Is he better than Gobert?
That's crazy. He dunked all over Gobert, so that's
I
something.
do. Yeah, I do remember that.
Um,
Speaking of
yeah,
the Wolves, though, they swept the Suns. Obviously, we already talked about that in the last podcast. Though,
nothing else to say. We'll talk about them in a sec.
yeah,
Nuggets, Lakers. Nuggets 1-5. Lakers finally got a win. Congrats, Jamal Murray with 2 game-winning shots in the last 2 seconds. Very
yeah,
impressive.
vintage Jamal Murray, and honestly, like the Nuggets looked like they were just in a different realm than the Lakers, like which again we'll get to later. Seems kind of crazy to say now, but they just seemed like they were just completely outclassing the Lakers, like at all ends of the court. Obviously, Game 4 and Game 5, got interesting. I know the Lakers held a lot of leads. But the Nuggets just felt inevitable throughout the series. Shout out Jamal Murray, like you said, the clutch shots every single time down. But like, I kind of felt like LeBron was the only player with gas left by the end of the series, and he might walk. $50 million player option next season. I'm curious to see what happens. I think he stays. I think it's just the most logical move. I think he takes a huge contract at that. But yeah, I was honestly very surprised because I thought I would think LeBron was more washed by the series, and I kind of think LeBron is still really really good, and the coaching slash rest of the team struggles. Roster construction actually is the biggest issue, but aside those
Yeah, I mean, very murky future. The only other one I'll say is AD played out of his friggin'
things,
mind.
of course,
Uh,
but AD always looks a little tired, like just visually.
yeah,
That's not fair to him because he's dropping like what did he drop in the
he had, I have his
30?
stats up 28, 16, 4 assists, almost 2 blocks, 63% from the field. Like, just looked really good, really strong defensive presence. Just, couldn't get it done.
Yeah. Um, we want to move to the East. You got anything else on the Lakers Nuggets?
No, just it'll be interesting to follow their offseason. Celtics, Heat, Celtics 1-5. I feel way better. Personally, as a Celtics fan, we did what we were supposed to do, and I'm just glad we kind of stomped on them. We'll talk more about the Heat in their off season. You got anything else to add? Because there's a lot of stuff there, but
There's a lot of stuff there with the Heat in the offseason, but we will get to that. I just want to not shout out, but point out the Pat Riley comments that he made at his press conference. Jimmy Butler's making jokes about how like, oh, he wasn't there. Like the Knicks are bad. Like if he was there, they'd be killing everyone. And Pat Riley comes out and he's like, well, you're not playing, and you want a max extension. And we can't give that to you if you're playing 50 games. Like he said that at the press conference, which first of all, respect. Second of all, we will get to that in the offseason, but I thought that was fascinating. I thought that was very, very interesting. There's zero shot they trade Jimmy Butler, but yeah.
yeah, the Heat are just consistently a team that punches above their weight. It's a very impressive feat that they keep doing it. Gotta wonder when the writing is going to be on the wall for this team. Doesn't feel like they can win a chip anytime soon based on how they're constructed in my mind. Maybe they sign a free agent. I don't know. There's just so much young talent, especially out west.
You trade for
But
Donovan Mitchell though, and maybe I'm thinking different.
maybe we'll talk about actually that exact player in that series. This was a fun series, man. This was a good one. So shout out to the Cavs. Crazy game 7. Really thought the Magic kind of had it in the bag, but then the 3-pointers stopped falling. I think once once they started so hot, you kind of had to wonder, is this going to continue, especially with our offense not really carrying on the road? Franz looked awful. He's got to figure out something about his jump.
Awful.
He just
Awful.
looked terrible. And Jalen Suggs, I think he is a higher floor kind of thing. So, but a lot of questions there. Paolo looked fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. On one hand, Suggs, I'm not going to roast too much. Like, he probably shouldn't be the third best player on the team at this point in his career.
Sure.
Franz, obviously, what, 1 for 12 in the closeout game? Ugh. But if I'm the Magic, like, as much as that's a terrible way to go out, you should let Paolo show why he's incredibly valuable in the playoffs. He's a huge body. When the game gets gritty, even when he was shooting terribly in the game seven. He shot like 30% in game seven, and it felt like he was as good as Donovan Mitchell for stretches of that game, if not better for certain periods.
Yeah.
And he can just get to the free throw line, get to a shot, some bad shots, doesn't matter because he's like, I got this. And you see that out of a 20-something-year-old in game seven of the playoffs, like you feel good. Like, yeah.
Very impressive, honestly, for the Magic. Shout out to Miche, our friend, for kind of calling this.
Yeah, low key. He totally did. He totally did on the preseason preview.
Yeah, I mean, man, they forced a good team to 7 games, and they have a very bright future ahead of them.
And frankly, they should have won. Like, I thought that was a little bit of a joke. The experience thing, but they were, the moment the Cavs got the lead, Darius Garland, who was terrible in game seven until the very end, the moment the Cavs got the lead, Darius Garland was like, I'm dribbling this ball for 20 seconds. Like, I'm taking out half a minute each time each time we go down the court. And it's difficult to put that through your head when you're a young team and it's like the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to do in a game seven. Because if you go cold and the other team goes hot in the game seven, that flips the game completely. And by just wasting time, you lower the chance of that. But experience diff, and also I don't know if that changes everything, but
Yeah. Quick trivia quiz, Max. Do you know the year that the last time the Cavs won a first round series without LeBron?
95, Mark Price.
Close, 93.
Oh, I had to rack my brain for that one though. I was doing the maths.
Hey, you were in the ballpark, bro.
I'm pretty good with that.
Dinner two.
Small thing, Evan Mobley. Ah, I I know like we'll get to the game one of the Celtics series and he had what like 17, 18 points in that game. Shout out, but
Yeah, he had a good game.
he looks incredibly slow. He does not look like a power forward. He does not look mobile like the way that I thought he used to look, in my opinion. Even his rookie year, he's flying around the court. Um, I'm worried. I'm someone who thought Mobley was on pace to potentially become a top 20 player and on the sooner end rather than the later end. Um, and his offensive bag is non-existent, which I did not expect. And defensively, he's really good, but like, he's not that good. Like the
Right.
way the Magic opened this series was attacking him off the dribble. And I know it's a center, but like in theory, Mobley's supposed to be a mobile center. So
Right. And you got Jared Allen for some of that series at least. And when he was by himself, he's on an island.
yeah. And is he fast enough to even be a power forward if he's barely fast enough to be a center sometimes? And that's harsh. Like he's fast enough to be a center, but
Right. He kind of reminds me of Angel Reese's play style.
that's crazy.
I mean, respectfully, of course. She's great, but
Hey, Angel Reese is cooking.
she's good. Yeah. Just no offensive back.
Yeah, honestly.
Honestly, focus. Uh,
It's actually
what else?
that's a great comp.
Right?
Yeah, it's a great comp.
We're hopping NBA WNBA here on Spin Hoops.
Shout out this guy. Shout out this guy.
This guy.
Hopefully they get the dude, I'm totally blanking on her name. I'm such a bad South Carolina fan. Who's the girl they got from South Carolina? She's been out. So hopefully they get her back soon.
I can't pretend to know what her name is, but
She's what the fourth,
WNBA's
fifth pick? Oh, I'm blanking on so badly on her name. It's actually gonna bother me all day, but it is what it is.
but shout out to that league. I think they're about to take a big jump.
Oh yeah.
Other things
Yeah, 100%.
that we got just so we can get into the second round of the playoffs here. Bucks, Pacers winning 6. I think it's just cool experience for Halliburton to have a series dub under his belt. Good for going forward. We'll see kind of, is this a Trae Young-esque type of first round series? I'm not sure, but good for Siakam. The Pacers are solid. But I I struggle. There was no fourth best player in the league this year on the Bucks. So
Yeah, it was really difficult to like watch the series because like we broke this down when it was 3-1, and even then it was like I don't know if the Pacers have been outright like substantially better than the Bucks throughout this series. But the Bucks had no shot. Like
they had Patrick Beverly on the thumbnail.
that Patrick Beverly playing the third most minutes in that series, maybe even more. Also, and then he's throwing a ball at a female
Well,
fan,
that was bad, bro.
and then it was basically was trying to throw it at someone else, hit a woman in the stands, and then actually hit someone else because they were saying Cancun on three.
Yeah, and then he was rude to a reporter. Just petty.
And it's really sad because I think Pat Bev thinks like giving an edge like that is what's going to keep him around in the NBA and stuff like that. But that's not an edge. Like now you're a distraction. Now you just went from being an edge to a distraction, and that's going to hurt your chances of being in the NBA. When you're a minimum guy every year.
Yeah, I just whatever, man. Good for Pat Bev. Live your life. But
It's sad. It's sad because frankly, he was having a really good season in my opinion, and like stuff like that just makes me not want. Like I don't want that guy on my basketball team if he's throwing balls at fans. Um, and I understand like I wasn't there for the whole situation. Like he was talking to security, wanted them kicked out, whatever. Uh, no, you don't throw things at fans. Yeah.
sure. Um, yeah, but we'll get into the Pacers opponent now real quick. We can just hop into that series, sure. So Knicks, Sixers, Knicks winning 6. Brunson has looked incredible. I don't know how he's been able to continue to carry this offense, not damn near by himself, but as close as it might seem. I think you have other players kind of chipping in offensively here and there. But just unbelievable last few games. And then Embiid had good counting stats. The impact, questionable. Did they rush him back from injury? Maxey looks like the guy maybe going forward. Some storylines there for the offseason.
Yeah, I mean I feel like the storylines is just like Embiid was really good, Maxey was really good. There was a flopping performance, frankly, on Embiid's end that was hilarious, but also Brunson respectfully was also having
Yeah, I
his
mean,
fun flopping.
he was the best. Yeah, and well, Brunson I think was the best player in the series. But also, how good was Embiid? Because he was important, and his counting stats and his plus minus reflect that, and also his presence on the court. But he looked so limited compared to what.
100%. He should not have played in this series. I might have said that in the last episode. He should not have played in this series. This was a waste of time. They were not going anywhere. And they really weren't going anywhere when Buddy Hield's putting up performances like he did for the first half of the season, first half of this series, sorry. Holy crap. But it's really sad because I think games like that where he's playing limited or he was playing with Bell's palsy, like just get off the court, man. Like for your own good, for your team's, frankly, for your team's own good, um, for the fans' good, like, because yeah, I'm just very sad because he looked like a shell of himself, and that's why I felt like he needed to turn up the flopping, and a shell of himself is still the second best player in the series by a good margin, right? But I don't know, it was a little sad. I don't think I wish we hadn't seen him play, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, just compared to how good he was in the if we had him in the shape that he was in the first half of the regular season, I think they win this in 5.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, with Maxey playing the way he was, but when Brunson's putting up 39, 47, 40, and 41 over the last 4 games of that series, and he
Sure.
shoots over basically 50%
For sure.
for all those games, like
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough.
Oh yeah, it's respectful.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more Sixers as the we'll start, dude. You know what we'll do? We'll do more of that. We'll have so much time in the off season. We'll get some fans on. We
Yeah.
never got to a Sixers fan or a Pels fan, and we'll just have them come rap.
And we know some fun Sixers fans too.
Oh
So
yes, we do.
Do you want to just hop right into this Knicks Pacer series then? Like, just, you know,
Yeah. So currently they are playing. I don't know the score of game two. Do you know the score of game two?
I'm not watching.
All right. So we don't know what's happening. Spin hoops fandom. Great first game. I'm selfishly I'm slightly rooting for the Pacers, if nothing more than to drag the series out. But unbelievable shot making continued from Brunson. He continues his streak of 40-point games, just shooting the lights out. Halliburton hasn't really looked. I mean, when he's on the court, their offense does flow well, but it's just weird that he's not taking over the game the same way that Brunson is. And it felt like at the beginning of this year, Halliburton and Brunson were very neck and neck. And now it's just completely like they've gone so far apart.
I totally agree. It's almost like the Pacers almost are better like I know the Knicks have their energy perimeter guys, etc. But the Pacers got like like Andrew Nemhard, who's honestly turned my eye. Like he's been pretty good and he was good in the first series. But they've got their energy guys, they've got their front court set up. Like I don't know, like low key, you swap Brunson and respectfully, you swap Brunson and Tyrese, and like that Pacers team is extremely good, like championship level at that point, in my opinion. Um, but I don't know. Maybe I'm giving too much credit to Miles Turner and Siakam, but I've been incredibly impressed by them. So it's almost like they didn't need Halliburton to be like, I got this, and they kind of got screwed out of this game from the late moving screen call on Miles Turner. Whether you thought that was a moving screen or not, like I get it. I just don't know how much. I don't know if it was aggressive enough to call at that point in the game, but
Yeah.
I know in theory we should have all calls be the same at all points of the game. But selfishly as a fan, I was like, that feels weak.
Yeah, that did feel weak. And it's just
Like it's
dis-
probably a moving screen. It's probably a moving screen.
yeah, but like do you call it there? I don't know. This was an interesting one. Just love the depth of the Pacers too. TJ McConnell always looks like a steady hand point guard, kind of reminds me of a Mike Conley or Ricky Rubio type of guy. Neesmith, kind of sad to see him not on the Celtics anymore. Honestly, the way he's playing and the energy. Love Obi Toppin. Almost like having his revenge series. Weirdly, the pacer that scored the least who played was Halliburton.
No, he doesn't
So
need, he doesn't need to be like, I got this. It's both like I think he's capable. I don't think he's as good as Brunson, right? Like that was a combo at the beginning of the season, obviously, but he almost doesn't need to. Although it would have been nice. Maybe if he scores more, they're not depending on a moving screen. But
and the big thing is, and this is just crazy. I remember Chuck saying at halftime, because Isaiah Hartenstein hits that crazy 3-point shot at the end of the half. And he goes, that could be the difference of the game. And it kind of effectively was the difference
yeah,
of the game. So
100%.
just crazy how in the NBA, like just one shot makes all the difference in a whole series.
I will say though, the Pacers can win this series.
Yeah.
Like, and they could win it in six.
I
Like,
mean,
I don't see them needing a 7 game series to win this series if they're going to win this series. I still probably have the Knicks on paper,
yeah.
but I really like this Pacers depth. Rick Carlisle is cooking. Shout out. He is whipping up a masterful performance over the last like I don't know, year or so. So I don't know. I'm very impressed with this Pacers team. I would not be surprised to see them win at all. I think there's a lot closer. Going into the series, I was like, okay, well, if Brunson's going to put up 45 a game, like you're kind of screwed if you're Indiana. But you
But
honestly
he
might
didn't.
not. You might not be.
Well, because if he's going to be their only offense, and then you have one other guy who might score like 20,
And
but
they're
then
going to
you have
start doubling.
else. Like,
They're going to start doubling Brunson at some point here. They're going to be like, yo, Dante, prove that you can lead a 4-on-3 and beat us each time down the court. Like I could see that happening. Like, and even if it's not hardcore doubling, you know what the T-Wolves do with Jamal Murray, where they like you cross half court. If someone's close to you, we just send a double. Like we're not doubling instantly, but like
we'll
I could see them.
press, we'll make you work, and then
Yeah.
we'll attack you on the other end.
And they're already doing that a little bit with Brunson, and Brunson just gets the ball out, and then the Knicks ball movement is so great. But I don't know. I'm very curious about the series. Mitchell Robinson also out 6 to 8 weeks, if I remember correctly, at this like after last game, which is tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the both teams were fully healthy though, I think the Knicks like steamroll through this series. I think like this is a series where Randall would have been really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Just
For
a
size,
huge
bro.
body,
Yeah.
huge body.
Yeah. Against those two down low. Absolutely. This will be a fun series.
Yeah. This will be fun. I could see it going 7. And this also it gives me this gives me 90s Pacers Knicks vibes. Both these teams are up and coming. They're also gonna be good. It's exciting. I really like it. I love Halliburton's really like emotional and expressive on the court, but it's like I don't know. I still like it. I don't love it when players complain a lot, and I don't think I do think he complains a good amount, like honestly. But I don't know. I really like watching Halliburton play, even if he's not like being incredibly impactful.
He plays with joy, and that's
100%.
fun. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That I mean, that's all I got on Knicks Pacers for now, but excited to see you go. Do we want to do a prediction?
Um, I'll do Knicks in 6. I'll do Knicks in 6. I just gave all that Pacers defending to go Knicks in 6.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Let's analyze all the reasons why the Pacers can win and then pick the other team anyways.
Yeah.
And I feel like I kind of land on the same place you do, honestly. Um, just feels like you get a couple Halliburton games where he dials it up and Brunson's not that guy. And but do they close it out on that's tough. I'll go Knicks in 7 for fun. Switch it up.
Like, when your brain tells you one thing and your heart tells you another thing, and usually you go with like your brain. Is that
Yeah.
or usually you go with your heart?
Bro, it depends on the girl.
My brain is telling me the Pacers because like I look down this matchup and I really feel like they match up very well against the Knicks, especially post Mitch Robinson injury, especially with no Julius Randle, obviously. Um, but the Knicks just have this heart and no pun intended, an attitude about them. Come on, that was a good one.
Oh,
And but like this attitude, this heart, and this understanding of exactly how to play almost at any moment in time, despite being so chaotic. Like I don't know. I
the
think
the
yeah.
Pacers feel like that cute girl at the bar that you meet and you have like a great summer fling with, but you never really know when, her concerns are going to pop up. And the Knicks feel like that girl that can really hold it down for you. And maybe you don't quite have as much fun in the relationship, but you're still having a 7 out of 10 pretty consistently versus the 9 out of 10 and the 5 out of 10. I don't know if that tangent really lands on where we're going here, but that feels like why the Knicks have more to take this over.
You just got me
Right.
on my feels, bro.
You know what we're saying? Little Knicks and Pacers. Ooh.
Okay, the weekend.
Shee.
Another
Will
OVO.
we get involved in this feud too? I saw some meme about that.
Well, he has a long standing. Okay, that was the thing. So that was the reference I was making. So OVO and EXO allegedly have been sending out hits on each other, and that's why like someone like did a hit on Drake's security guard. People have been thinking that's related to Kendrick, but apparently there's a long standing feud between OVO and EXO. And also, I have no sources to back any of this up. Just me, totally. This is Twitter comments, Reddit.
Yeah.
This is Twitter comments, but yeah. So he's involved, and he got basically Drake was making some homophobic jokes about the weekend and Family Matters, which
Just crazy. Yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
Anyway,
let's not get canceled. Let's not don't get fired. Don't get fired from your own podcast. And I guess we can move on to the Celtics and the Cavaliers.
all right.
So obviously, game one. Celtics win. What is it? 120 to 95, something like that. No Porzingis in this series, obviously, and the Cavs are coming off a long series, obviously, playing against the Magic. Um, but to start this off, I just have a question. This is purely for fun. Like, I'm not trying to shoot shots and I'm not trying to like discredit anyone too, because an exercise like this could be used to discredit like a Jason Tatum pretty easily. Like, this is not the point of this. But just this is just for fun. If we drafted Celtics against Cavs players, how many Celtics guys would you pick before getting to a non-Donovan Mitchell Cavaliers player? So, and this counts Porzingis. This fully healthy Jared Allen, fully healthy Porzingis. I know this is like not fair for considering they're both injured, but yeah.
Okay. So Tatum, Jalen. We're not counting Kristaps. Derek White. Um, Arguably Drew, at least
Taking
four.
you taking are you taking Garland over Drew?
No, no, I'm saying those four probably.
But you said arguably. I'm
Oh,
just like,
oh, well, yeah. I mean, just the idea of Mobley, he played pretty well.
oh, the idea of Mobley.
But I mean, the point is, it's 3.5 players at least.
I think it's five. I think it's five. If you count Porzingis, I think it's five.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like,
Um,
and even if you count Jared Allen on the other hand, I think you the way I would draft it is Tatum, Mitchell, Jalen, White, Drew, Porzingis, Allen. And the only reason Porzingis is fifth is injury concerns. But like, and maybe I'm overreacting about Garland specifically. I don't think I'm overreacting about Mobley, unfortunately, as we talked about previously. But
mhm.
Garland's also in a really weird, tough spot here where he's a ball not dominant guard and he's got to play against Donnie Mitchell, play with Donnie Mitchell. And Donnie Mitchell is very much the I got this shooting guard in a good way. Like that's the guy you want in the game seven against the Magic. Like, but it makes it a little bit harder to play next, like if you're Garland. Like it's like if Booker and Garland were playing with each other. Like, you know. Um, so yeah, I think it's five. I frankly I don't know what the route for the Cavs is in this series, frankly.
um, Somehow learn how to play hounding defense, try to force the Celtics into bad habits. Just doesn't really feel like that. Especially, I've really come to appreciate how Tatum's been playing in this playoffs. I think he's a little under the radar, which is completely fine. He
100%.
can shoot as badly as he wants. Let's get all these terrible shooting nights out of the way, if that's how it's going to be. I like the way he's facilitating. I like the way he's letting the offense flow. I love the way Jaylen Brown is playing right now. He's just scoring on all levels, and he looked unbelievable last night. Derek White looked unbelievable last night, and they're just going to hound the Cavs guards. So Donovan Mitchell's putting up all this effort just to keep them in the game. And unlike against the Magic, now this is just a talent mismatch for them. And JB Bickerstaff is not the type of coach who can coach them into 23 threes. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, I think JB Bickerstaff is honestly not even that bad of a coach, frankly. Like,
Sure.
like the issue is here is like you've got your locked in three guys. It's Donovan Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley. And the issue is none of your perimeter guys can play defense, so you have to play Okoro, who's actually been pretty good. Shout out. Um, but when Okoro shoots 8 threes like he did in game one, you're going to lose that game. Even if he scores six of them. Because like that's the shot they want. Like that's the shot the Celtics defense is down to give up, you know? I think the route for them to I don't know. The route for them to win is the 3 points. The 3 point, like if Strus starts making 7 threes, Sam Merrill, no disrespect to Karis LeVert, but I'm not really seeing it right now out of him.
Mhm.
And it's like they're gonna try to shorten the bench and try to find something that works. And I'm pretty skeptical. I think an adjustment they can make is just trot out Sam Merrill and for 30 minutes and hope he hits 5 threes. Like he changed the game in that game seven. But Sam Merrill's not playing 30 minutes in general. So like that would be a big shift for him, let alone the team. I don't know. Pretty skeptical that the Cavs can win more than one game.
I'm with you. I see a Max Strus, Sam Merrill type of game. The Cavs gave us one of the worst home losses, not home losses in this season, where they just went off and they came back from like down 20 in the fourth quarter. So that could happen. Don't like that for the habits of the C's, but this series feels pretty fun for me as a Celtics fan and just kind of keeping the reps going.
Yeah. I really would like to see Mobley score 30, like a game
Yeah.
in this series. This feels like this is a matchup that now Porzingis is out, like against Horford and Luke Cornett, who played what 20 minutes in game one. I'd love to see Mobley average 24 a game in this series, but I just don't really see it happening, unfortunately. Like that's to me, that's like a true route for the Cavs to be actually competitive in this series. But I just Mobley hasn't shown me enough, which is really unfortunate. He's one of my, I don't know, one of the players I really like to watch, like in general. So
Mm-hmm. I feel you.
predictions?
I'll give the Cavs a game, but yeah.
I think it's a Celtics sweep, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of struggling to see the route, and it's unfortunate, like because Donovan Mitchell, if I'm him, I'm out.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. He goes off for a game, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But no, not too much here.
Let's move to the West.
Let's do it, dude. Thunder, Mavs, great first game, at least to start before the Mavs kind of pulled away. Just some concerns about Luka's shooting. I mean, Kyrie kind of heated up in the second half, but I think the youth of the Thunder, how quickly they move, how hounding their defense is, how good Lou Dort looks. I mean, he had a couple threes to start the game, and it was like, this is going to be a long night for Luka because when he's hitting threes, they're damn near impossible to stop. So Chet looked good. Jalen Williams looked friggin' amazing. Anytime the Mavs try to cut it to a closer game, he just hit three after three or just drove past dude, yammed it. Shea, consistent point scoring. So,
Aaron Wiggins. If
yeah,
Aaron Wiggins is giving you 18 and 16 in a playoff game, like on top of all of that,
right.
there's not
So,
really beating them.
but overall, that's my overall impressions. I got more thoughts, but what you make of this game?
I just think the Thunder are really, really good. We kind of got robbed of seeing them like be super competitive in that first round series against the Pelicans, right? And maybe that's us discrediting the Thunder for sweeping the Pelicans, right? But there's something interesting. Like Giddey is basically like a Zaza Pachulia at this point, or that's not fair because he actually played like 25 minutes a game in the last series.
He
But
seems steady.
when it counted last night,
Yeah.
Mark Daigneault went away from him. He played 15 minutes and he was eighth on the team in minutes, ninth on the team in minutes, if I remember correctly, in game one. But there no bumps at all. You know, Case and Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, they come out, they perform. Um, I'm very interested about that dynamic because if Aaron Wiggins keeps playing like this, it's gonna be hard to deny him even more minutes. And so then at that point, does Giddey becomes Zaza Pachulia if he can't shoot threes like he could in game one?
And I thought Giddy played pretty well, honestly, tonight. So, like,
Well,
that's saying something, how deep they are.
yeah, last night.
I don't know, man. How do you see the Mavs pushing forward through this series?
Well, if Luka plays like this, it's game over. Like this team is built around Luka scoring 30 on relatively efficient numbers, setting people up, right? If you shoot 6 for 19 like you did in game one, 31% from the field, minus 25 plus minus. If this continues, you have zero shot. So, like, that's the first thing. And Luka, honestly, over the last 4 or 5 games, this is what Luka's been. So I'm like a little worried there. But the Mavericks are a little weird right now. Like Lively and Gafford only combined for like 40 minutes last game. You know, no Kleber, so you can't really play. Like
Yeah.
Kleber would be the guy you'd play at a solo 5 slot, and they're going to solo 5 slots without either Gafford or Lively. And that's kind of interesting to me. It makes me think this is like a long thing I keep harping on, but it makes me feel like Gafford and Lively are still redundant, and the injury to Kleber is just catastrophic.
It
Um,
sucks.
yeah. But now there's kind of a clear 8-man rotation for Dallas. It now does include Tim Hardaway Jr. and doesn't include Dante Exum, which it has and it hasn't at certain points. But just because there's a clear 8-man rotation doesn't mean it's a good 8-man rotation. And Luka's got to score like 35 a game here, frankly.
I mean, I still don't hate it. I think just guys need to hit shots, honestly. That felt like that was the issue. They shot terribly. Everybody but Kyrie pretty much shot terribly. And I mean, I liked Gafford. I liked his energy. He had 5 blocks. He was moving. PJ Washington, if he can keep hitting shots, I think there's a path forward. But to your point, it involves Luka being Luka Doncic. If Luka turns it back into Luka, I have the Mavs winning this in 6 or 7.
I'm gonna be
But
honest, I'm pretty worried because I thought we actually got a pretty good game one out of Josh Green, PJ Washington, and Derrick Jones. And that's on top of like Gafford and Kyrie also playing along.
Derrick Jones had the craziest yam on someone's head
Yeah.
last night. Like, yeah, he looked good.
So that's 5 guys playing pretty well, in my opinion. And then Luka, like if Luka plays well, that should be the difference.
Yeah.
But they lost by 25. Like, I don't know. I'm a little concerned, frankly. But the thing is, if these bench guys continue to play like this and Luka does like get better, now we're talking,
Now we go.
now we're talking Mavericks and 6, like you're saying.
And
Uh,
now we're talking about the like one of the best defenses from the end of the regular season coming
yeah.
back. So, this is a personal note, real quick. Just I don't love Tim Hardaway Jr. I don't like his game. Like he seems like a gunner to me. He was shooting it sporadically. I know he can get hot, and when he gets hot, he's a guy that you want on your team. But to me, he just feels like a poor man's J.R. Smith that just does not feel like a net positive on the floor. He just felt like he was getting outworked and out efforted and throughout the game.
Yeah, I don't think Tim Hardaway Jr. at this point in his career should be starting 12 games like he did this season, let alone any. Uh he shot 35% from three this year and 40% from the field. Like that's bad numbers. Like
Yeah.
that's just straight bad numbers. Percentage wise, but he still played 27 minutes a game. Jason Kidd obviously got an extension. We'll see how long he lasts because you know, I'm pretty plugged in on Mavericks Twitter and with the Mavericks fans. Like, I think they have like one of the more fun and positive and entertaining fan communities, honestly. But you should hear the rancid things they say about Tim Hardaway. I'm not saying I'm support the things they say, but in terms of how they feel about him, you know, I don't think we're the only ones who don't like Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably watched 15 Mavs games this year. Like, I don't know if I'm outing myself there, but hey, Spitting Hoops fans, we can't watch every single basketball game, okay? And they're a Western Conference team.
Pretty
Chill
good.
out. But like 20, 15, at least parts of a game. And he just never really looked impressive. And when they were on their stretch run, the Mavs looked really good. But again, I'll say when they played the Celtics, which is a Thunder caliber type of team, they were just out defensed, out manned by the end of the game.
Yeah.
So
I'll hustle even. I mean, this is a shout out to Kyrie, honestly. Kyrie has
he's been balling.
for the reputation and the slander he's gotten even from us, like he's been hustling, trying hard on defense. Like that stuff has gone to another level for him. Like
Yeah.
he's always been a good scorer, and obviously, like he showed it again, scoring 20 in game one, like great percentages. But the hustle and the want out of Kyrie has been incredible. Like that's another thing they do really well.
He's going to be a key for this, and he's probably the biggest reason why I have any faith at all in the Mavs somehow winning the series.
Fair enough. I mean, on the other side, I'm gonna be honest. I think I have the Thunder winning in six, and it might be less. Uh,
You know what's interesting? I feel like we keep talking about the teams that we think are going to lose more than the teams that we think are going to win. We talked about the Pacers more, we talked about the Cavs more, and now we're talking about the Mavs.
yeah, I mean, I think that's. I mean, you're right, but also like for Cavs Celtics, how much are we gonna talk about the Celtics? For Pacers Knicks, that's fair enough. Like we did talk about the Pacers,
I
but
mean, yeah,
here, I mean, there's routes for the Thunder. There's clear routes. I mean, clear routes for the Mavericks to win
right,
this series. I just pretty strongly don't see it happening. The
right.
Thunder can play 10 different guys, and they are basically playing 10 different guys at this point. They haven't even shortened their bench.
They just look so good, bro.
And Chet looks amazing. He only played like 31 minutes in game one. He still had like 20 points, good shooting percentages,
Yeah,
clean. And
yeah,
I think they're like almost too young and naive to feel the playoff pressure because they're so
yeah,
good, frankly.
yeah. They'll run into a wall soon enough, but for now they look good.
I
But
mean, we'll get to this later. If the T-Wolves, who we're about to talk about, if the T-Wolves come out of this series with the Nuggets, I think the Thunder can beat the T-Wolves.
man, we might have some fun stuff to talk about. But that's a good segue.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Obviously, T-Wolves leading 2-0 against the Nuggets. This has been the most lit series, even though it's 2-0. This has been thrilling to watch. We have the defending champions coming up against a team that they beat in 5 games, round one last year, and the T-Wolves are taking it to the Nuggets. First 2 games in Denver, mile high, doesn't matter. They outplayed the Nuggets in both these games.
Um, yeah, they looked really good. I'm looking up right now the there's a new thing I've been looking at, dude, and I think I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So when you go to ESPN, you go to the game logs. Um, you can see how last time I did this, the friggin' an ad started. Don't have this happen again. All right.
Tonight, your
It happened again. Excuse me. Sorry, Spittin Hoops fan. If you look at the game flow at that chart below, it shows the lines as the game goes along. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the two teams' lines. And something that I was very impressed by the Nuggets, and this is emblematic of what you would think is when they played the Lakers in the first round, the Lakers line was kind of like this. Like the Nuggets straight line the whole time. And you look at the Timberwolves, and besides one blip in the first quarter, I was way more impressed by their first game. As just to say something, like because not because of how good they were in their second game, and I'll get to my take on that, but because in the closing moments, the Nuggets line flatlined. And the Timberwolves maintained its course, if not improved. And that was something I wasn't expecting. They won the fourth quarter. And they won it with a lot of like pressure. You have to beat this team that kicked your ass last year, even though they were a tough competition. I'll get into why I was more impressed by this win than the next win in a second, but just overall, bro, I don't know. There's a lot we can say.
Yeah, I mean, terrible Jamal Murray series so far, and then getting into game two, no Gobert in game two,
Right.
no problem whatsoever. Naz Reid, 4 blocks in the series already, only played 20 minutes in game one. It was crazy good contributor in game two on both sides of the court. Had a better offensive game one, but regardless. We can have an Edwards conversation later. But I just thought game two, I disagreed. Game two was more impressive to me. That was a manhandling of a team that is a defending champion that I've not seen in a very long time. Think about past defending champions, right? You got like the Warriors and like, obviously they lose to the Lakers. They got beat by the Kings pretty good at certain points, but like, and even further, the Raptors are a bad example because they lose Kawhi, obviously, after they win the chip. Lakers, even though they lost in their defending champ season, like, nothing crazy. This was an insane game because not only, I don't think the Nuggets are even that bad. I think the Nuggets are the best team in the NBA going into this series, right? Like, it's not even like our expectations are low. And game two, they get fully outplayed from start to finish. No point do the Nuggets even look in the game. They got a great Aaron Gordon first quarter. He has 15 points in the first quarter, if I remember correctly. They're down 10. And it's like, what's going on? Defensively inspiring. The perimeter defense, some of the best perimeter defense I've seen in my life out of a team, frankly, top to bottom. And yeah, I just game two was a beautiful start to finish execution with your head coach who can't even stand up, so
the way that they were playing in game two was, to your point, like it was one of those times where I was sitting with a couple of my friends who like basketball but don't follow basketball. One actually happens to be a Nuggets fan, so he was down kind of bad, but they're not big basketball fans, and they were like, "This is not normal." Like what we're looking at. It was just clear the second they crossed half court. To your point, they looked inspirational. They were free flowing. Their offense and their defense, they looked like they were on a string. Their defense was their offense in a way. Like they were just playing so well that they had a fast break every single possession.
Yeah, and it's Edwards on fast break. What are you going to do?
How are you going to stop them? And how are you going to stop them? The Nuggets out-rebounded the Timberwolves 50-42. The Timberwolves out-assisted the Nuggets 28-16. So the ball was moving. Anthony Edwards continues to look amazing. Again, I go back to the assists. 3 players on the Nuggets who had more than 6 assists. Jokic led the Nuggets with 8. Man, it was pretty stifling, bro. I'm not gonna call say that the Nuggets are done by any stretch of the thinking, but I don't really see the way that they're gonna do that right now.
I think it's done. I think the series is done. I don't see this Nuggets winning. I frankly
Winning any games?
Oh, no, they'll win a game. They're too good not to win a game. But I don't see the route to them winning the series. They already shortened their bench. Murray's getting strapped. They clearly only have 2 shot creators at all. Like, and that's the thing with the Nuggets is you always knew they only had 2 shot creators. They were just so good that they could just keep creating. But if you take out one of them, now Jokic has a huge scoring burden, and I don't know. It's like it's not Jokic's fault he's shooting 40% from the field and 10% from three when the rest of the team literally can't even dribble the ball because the defense is just completely strapped them. I think that's a roster construction thing, but also I think that's a T-Wolves thing. That's how you beat the Nuggets, clearly. You put on a ton of size on Jokic, make it difficult for him to score because Jokic could put up 40. If this was a team that had this good perimeter defense, that had Draymond Green at center and like it was Trace Jackson Davis backing him up, Jokic would be scoring 40 a game. It'd still be tough for the Nuggets to win, but Jokic would still be putting that up. He can't do that against Nazary, Towns, and Gobert. And if Jamal's not giving you anything, KCP can't create a shot. We saw KCP a few times trying to get creative, and they have no one else. Reggie Jackson is not good right now.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's something special, and this is not for lack of the Nuggets. This is the thing to your point. I don't think there was some uncharacteristic basketball going on, right? Like you get
Crazy turnovers.
16 turnovers
Yeah.
to the Wolves 12, so not great. But at the same time, the Wolves turnovers, you had the game away. But the Nuggets, yeah, some of it was self-inflicted, but for the most part, it felt like the Wolves imposing their will on the Nuggets. Something as a longtime Celtics fan is that for me, when I watch the Celtics play the Heat and respectfully the Warriors, it never felt like the Heat or the Warriors were overly imposing their will. They were just executing their game plan, and the Celtics were withering. This feels like the Timberwolves imposing their will.
100%.
Nuggets are trying their best, and then they give up, of course. But just being played unbelievably right now.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think that's a great way to put it. Imposing your will is a great way to put it. And that's why, frankly, I don't really see the route for the Nuggets to win this series. Like, they just got spanked on their home court by 20. Their coach is trying to get ejected, actively trying to get ejected to try to rile the team up. Yeah, Jamal Murray throwing heating pads
Yeah,
on.
we didn't even talk about that, bro.
I mean, I don't have too much analysis. Like, Murray shouldn't have thrown the heating pad. I don't want to see him suspended because honestly, they're not winning this. They're not winning the series if he gets suspended or not, in my opinion. So
I still think that they can win the series, but my analysis of him throwing I'm less interested in yes, of course it was dangerous, it was reckless, whatever.
don't throw things at people's legs when they're playing basketball. Yeah.
It was the fact that he threw it.
I've never seen him be like that.
Like what you have to be able to do to somebody who's that cool, calm, and collected that we've seen for the last 2 years, that we've known has been a playoff riser, that we know can be that guy, that number 2 guy on an NBA championship team, can even take over in a Kyrie to LeBron type of way. For him to lose his shit and throw that thing, I mean, clearly a completely impulsive act that is so driven by like the emotional dysregulation that you have, seeing a guy 5 years younger than you kicking your ass. And then his friends, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels, also coming and just locking you the hell up. It was the fact that he threw it that struck me, not what he did. You know what I mean?
And same with Mike Malone freaking out in the way he did. We have always known Mike Malone's a little bit of a hothead. We've seen it come out in like post game, even in arguments on the court. But like that was the full like, I need to get it. That was a baseball move. That was I need to get ejected to rile my team up. And the refs didn't even give it to him. He should have 100% got ejected. Let's be real. Refs were like, nah, you're staying in. You're gonna watch, and we're gonna see what happens. We're not letting you take the narrative of this game. And it worked out. Like I'm not saying the refs like actively were thinking that. Like I don't think the refs were like, oh, like if we eject them, they're gonna rage at us after the game. I don't think that was actually going through their head. But situationally, it was fascinating to watch. It felt like, yeah, what you're saying is why I don't see the Nuggets coming back. You got Jamal Murray freaking out, throwing heating pads on his home court after 2 games.
I mean, it's crazy. I think that they're handling an adversity that they just haven't really faced in the last like in a while. Either because they were just playing teams where they were constantly ahead and you knew that they could outclose, or Murray was hurt a few years ago and there was just no pressure. The one thing I will say though is that like energy is so contagious, And for Anthony Edwards to be leading this team, I think has really been inspiring for all these guys on the Timberwolves. I mean, and you have Mike Conley, of course, who's just a steadying hand. But the way Cat's been able to buy in, the way Rudy Gobert is playing, the way Naz Reid's been playing, just so good. And I think if that's the one thing is with basketball, because it is such a team-oriented sport and your ability to keep your shit in check is so coincided with your ability to execute effectively on the court. Nobody shoots better when they're feeling worse. So if they're able to get something going, something rolling, I think if they come out with a strong first quarter in game 3, I think that's the route to them seeing something. I don't know what they do if they come out flat for game 3. Then it feels like a wrap.
I just think the T will still have adjustments though. Like the Nuggets are coming to the end of their adjustments, which I don't know how many they have given their pretty trimmed bench. And their bench guys also aren't shot creators like Christian Brown and Peyton Watson. The T-Wolves, right? Jaden McDaniels is arguably their second best player. I think he might be. I think it probably is.
You think Jaden McDaniels is their second best player?
I think there's a strong argument to be made. I like respect the Towns. Respect the Towns.
Wow. And
Rudy. The issue is that like Towns has shown a defensive level this year that I hadn't seen from him previously. And like,
well, we got to reward him for the way he's playing.
Of course. But I just think I'm going to reward Jaden McDaniels for probably being the best perimeter defender in the league right now. Like low key, like I don't know. Also think Jaden McDaniels can score very well, and he just hasn't had to. He's taken like the 5th, 6th most shots on this team so far. I mean, you heard Ant Edwards say it. They got KD. We got Jaden McDaniels.
We got Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah. Like,
and guess who wasn't on the floor last season against the Nuggets?
And I think, frankly, he defensively is like, I would have nightmares about him if I was in the league because somehow he can guard everyone. He also has like defensive credibility already this young, so he doesn't get called for like ticky-tack fouls, which I think is like an underrated aspect. Like you raise your defensive credibility to the point where you don't, just because you do bump someone, I'm not saying that's a great part of the game, but it is what it is. And I think he's genuinely a great player. But yeah, he's the 3rd best player. Let's be real about it. I think you could argue he's the 2nd, but he has 5 points this series.
He has 5 points this series.
He's averaging 2.5 a game, actually. So and he's got like the 3rd most minutes in this series. So even if Conley starts going cold, even if the other guys start going cold, you still have a credible guy right here, Jaden McDaniels, who, he can make a difference still. So I'm pretty excited, honestly. I could see Minnie winning in 5. I'm gonna predict Minnie in 6. Follow up. Jaden McDaniels shot 50% from the floor in the regular season and 34% from 3. Like average like 11 points a game. I know it's not a ton, but yeah. Like again, he's averaging 2.5 this series.
This is tough. I think to all your points, like it's the Timberwolves are imposing their will, and they haven't even had to show a lot of their hand, and their 4-time depoy was missing, and I think I was more impressed by their game 1 win because we had no idea what was coming. Game 2, we still had no idea that this was coming.
No Gobert.
I think no Gobert. The thing is, though, when you're able to start the success, you kind of can get on a roll with it a little bit. And
like you get that belief.
Right. And you especially when it's like one game, there was just a point where their defense was ridiculous and they couldn't get across half court for that like period in the second quarter where it went from like, whoa, this is like not that close of a game anymore to what the hell is happening? And I think the poise that they showed at the end of game 1 was very, very impressive to me in a way where it feels like any team can really get hot. Again, not discrediting the fact that this was probably one of the best defensive halves that I've ever seen in my entire life. But I think to be able to put the series out in the start, bro, we haven't even talked about Anthony Edwards yet. we haven't really talked about Ant. We haven't talked about Yoke. Like,
I mean, we talked a little bit about Yoke. I mean, Ant's what, 35 a game this series, 60% from the field, 38% from 3, 77% from the free throw. And this is against a very good defense, and he's playing terrific defense. We're gonna need to revisit. The thing is, like, Ant is him, Wade, Kobe,
Yeah.
MJ. I don't. It doesn't feel too early to put those four guys in the same breath.
And I mean, just based off of the fact that I think 93% of all teams down 2-0 lose.
Mhm.
We'll probably have that conversation next round. But real quick, thinking about Jokic, trying to think about how can the Nuggets come back from 2-0? Like, what is their path to come back?
What is the path? Well, Jamal Murray, first of all, can't play like this because he's your only other shot creator. So he cannot play like this, and he won't play like this. This is like a historically bad start in general and for him. So that's first thing. But you're gonna need to move away from a pick and roll game because the more you run this pick and roll, now you're activating help defenders. Now you're asking Jokic to get the ball in the roll and throw it out to the corner to KCP, which the T-Wolves have shown a great ability to play backside defense, rotate, cover those shots. You're kind of gonna need to go a little bit more of the traditional one-on-ones, run the break a little bit more. I know you don't want to with Jokic, but and even just using Jokic in a more Sabonis-like role, where he's gonna need to take the ball around rather than be a receiver and then distributing it, in my opinion. I think like basketball wise, that's how you're gonna beat a defense like this that can just swarm Jokic 24/7. So if Jokic catches the ball in the roll of the rim, you got either Naz, Gobert, or Towns waiting for him, and then you got Jaden McDaniels covering a backside cut or covering a backside throw out to the corner, right? I don't know. I think you're gonna need Jokic to guide the ball a little bit more. And the thing
And
is,
then
if he's taking this many shots, you're probably screwed.
this is the reason why heliocentric basketball has not really worked out well for most teams that have tried it.
Yeah.
And again, even if we say Jokic is at the peak of his powers, the other guys need to show up. And Aaron Gordon's been shooting okay. And even Michael played okay in that first game and they still lost. So, I mean, this is, I think the path forward is what you're describing. And then the Timberwolves letting go of the rope.
I agree. And I think even if the Nuggets do what I'm describing, if the T-Wolves stay the course, even if just the defense stays this good, it's gonna be tough. Frankly, even if just the defense stays good, because you know that stadium is gonna be jumping up 2-0, up 2-0 in mini against the defending champs. They haven't had a second round series since KG. Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
Well, did they make a second round series with Jimmy? No,
no.
They made the playoffs. They got first round.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what I think. To win the series, though, you're going to need either KCP or you're going to need MPJ or Aaron Gordon to. One of the two is going to have to score 20 each game, and then, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is not going to be able to play 32 and a half minutes over the first two games on average and score 5 points. Like he's gonna have to score more, even though you know that the T-Wolves view a KCP shot as a win because it's not a Jokic or a Jamal Murray shot, but he's still gonna have to score. He's gonna have to make those shots that he's missing, shooting 33% from three right now. So,
bro, I'm excited. This is gonna. I mean, people gotta Friday night, right? Like people gotta watch this game.
Oh, I'm not. I'm straight up like I'm not going out, baby.
Yeah.
Kidding me?
Yes, sir. This is like this. What's up?
I'm seeing the ball. I'm seeing the gala, aka the Ant Edwards coming out party.
Bro, this feels like one of the most important games that wasn't a finals game in 5 years. Because if they go up 3-0, that's a wrap. And we all of a sudden have this complete different conversation away from Jokic is going to go back to now. Since 2019, no NBA champion has won more than once. And now Jokic can always come back, but the Thunder aren't going anywhere. The Timberwolves aren't going anywhere. Victor's only getting better. what's going to happen. So I don't know. I think this has a lot of potential.
Few off the top of my head that compete is Game 7 last year, ECF, 2021 Bucks Nets semifinal.
Games, yeah, that was big. Yeah, that's true.
Those are Game 7s, but a non-Game 7 that is actually a really similar situation to this is kind of cracking me up is on the sorry, I have to talk about the Warriors. On the way to the Warriors chip, that Game 4, the Memphis Warriors, where Ja gets hurt in Game 4, yeah, he got hurt in Game 3, Game 4, whatever. But if the Grizz go up in that game, they went on to lose, and they were losing at the point where Ja got hurt. But if Ja stays in, leads them to a comeback, and they win that game, there's a good chance they win that series, and maybe the Grizz are NBA champs, frankly. But that's similar comparison. That's the sort of shit we're talking about. And also, the Nuggets are the defending champs, is not on the way to a chip, and the T-Wolves are substantially better than the Grizz were, or frankly will be in the imminent future. But yeah,
just shocked, speechless. It all makes sense right in front of us watching the Timberwolves play, but still, did not see this coming.
And I can't. I want to. Sorry, I just want to say shout out Naz Reid. He is amazing. He is like he offensively, defensively. He's got a bat. He takes it off the dribble. He's doing reverse layups. What do you want, brother?
He's crazy.
I'm like,
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I had the Thunder not doing well this season, but the Timberwolves doing really well. I know you had the Thunder being really good this year, and I don't remember how you had the Timberwolves, but I don't know if it was good or not.
I had I had them as a playing team. We literally had it flipped or whatever. Yeah.
Should we? Are we picking? Should we go with our guts here? Can I take the Timberwolves? You take the Thunder?
Hey, I already said earlier in the pod. That I think the Thunder have got a really good shot against the T-Wolves. I think they match up really well.
Bro. All right. Well, we don't.
Because we're talking about shot creators, dude. The Thunder got too many.
We need not get ahead, bro.
Dude, we're already counting out the defending champs. But I mean, honestly, from the first 2 games on Denver's home court, yeah, the Nuggets are going to need to prove something to me at this point, given the way those games went, despite them being defending champs.
Seeing the Warriors come back from down 3-1 when it didn't look how that was going to happen. Seeing the Lakers do the same thing to y'all. Seeing the Raptors do that to the Bucks. Seeing the Bucks do that to the Suns. Like, sorry. Seeing the Cavs do that to the Celtics in the 2017-2018 playoffs when we were up 2-0 and they had no answers.
Anything is possible, but the lack of shot creation on this Nuggets team, I think, is going to be really difficult to overcome.
It is. The way that this series is breaking down, it's different than 2 close games where you can see the recipe and it's just not there.
100%. And like, we're talking again. I keep harping on the shot creator thing. Even if you roll to the bench, like, is Julian Strawther gonna all of a sudden like give you 15 in a game? Like, probably not. Like, that's the thing about T-Wolves. Could randomly give you 15 in a game. Jaden McDaniels,
who's averaging 2.5.
Yeah, so like that's kind of my worry. Kyle Anderson also like.
We haven't even talked about him.
I don't think he should have started last game, but he in his 18 minutes it was more than that. It was like 20 something minutes. It was pretty good, and he's averaging 4 points a game in the series. So it's almost like I feel like the T-Wolves offensively feel like they have room for growth, which is like ridiculous. They only have 3 players scoring double figures. That's Naz, Townsend, and Ant. I'm thoroughly impressed, and like frankly, I just see this getting it can't get worse than last game for the Nuggets, but like I just don't really see the path back. Yeah, sorry Nuggets fans. That's my analysis.
Unbelievably impressive across the board. Just it's small market teams battling it out in the West. This weird injury plagued, very enticing series when the Celtics aren't involved going on in the East right now. This is a cool playoffs, man.
I'm excited.
Nothing that we're saying makes sense.
Hey, I mean, we might have a Final Four that's like Celtics, T-Wolves, Thunder, Knicks, or let's switch the Knicks and say Pacers. If we get a Pacers, Celtics, T-Wolves, Thunder Final Four, like you're gonna have to find me the guy who predicted that before the season.
Legit, bro.
Yeah. That's all I got though. We just did an hour 30. I told you it was gonna be closer to an hour 30, hour 40.
You did say that. I thought it was going to be a little shorter. I
And it
think
was like hour 15 max.
you know what? You went with the Pacers on that, and I went with the Knicks. And that's just what happens. Well, with our girl analogy from earlier.
Yeah, fair enough.
You picked the flashy, and I picked the wrong way. But
And I was right. No.
we'll see who's right about our. I think we all have the same predictions, though. Yeah, I mean the Timberwolves are statistically more likely to advance.
I got Wolves in 5 or 6.
Yeah, I feel like 6 makes sense. I don't know.
Damn, we gotta disagree more. Honestly, though, these series are like the Knicks Pacer series is the one series where like I'm pretty 50-50 on. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Okay. Speaking of which, this is a good pod. Let's close up.
Yeah.
Let's watch the game.
Yeah, we should. By the way, this pod, you guys might not see this till tomorrow morning. I'll do my best to get it up tonight. Hey yo.
Damn. Bruh.
Anyways,
we love you, Spittin' Hoops gang. We'll talk to you soon. We're sorry we're not able to hop on as quickly, but we love basketball. We love the playoffs. We love you all. And we'll check in with you soon. Until then, we'll be chilling here, Spittin' Hoops, watching the second round. Y'all take it easy now.